Are the U.S. and China friends or enemies? Even some of the stodgiest diplomats will, for lack of a better term, use the word frenemies, because the fact is the truth is somewhere in between. Let's talk about what makes the two countries friends. And the first is economic. The U.S. is China's #1 trading partner. China is the U.S.'s #2 after only Canada. And just as a matter of comparison, the U.S. has more than 500 times the amount of trade in dollar terms with China as it had with the USSR. But there are other shared interests. One is counterterrorism. Another is non-proliferation. China was also a part of the Iran nuclear negotiations. A big one is climate change. And when I talk to even some of the toughest diplomats on both sides, they all agree on one thing. It's not in either country's interest to go to war with the other. But China and the U.S. have real and troubling and growing differences. One of them is cyber attack. For years, U.S. companies have accused China of stealing trade secrets to the loss of tens of billions of dollars. And the U.S. government has accused China of attacking the U.S. military and a whole host of U.S. institutions. The U.S. and China also have severe differences over territory. The U.S. opposes China's manufacture, in effect, of man-made islands hundreds of miles off of its coast, and other differences as well, including islands that both China and Japan claim. At the same time, the U.S. very concerned about the expansion of China's military and the expansion of where China's military is operating. We saw that when Chinese warships turned up off the coast of Alaska within U.S. territorial waters at the same time that President Obama was on the ground there. Bigger picture, the U.S. and Chinese systems are diametrically opposed. The U.S. is a democracy based on the rule of law. China is an authoritarian state where the law is essentially the Chinese Communist Party. So the challenge, and Chinese and U.S. diplomats talk about this all the time, is how to keep the peace between a rising power, China, and an existing power, the U.S. And historically, that's always been tough. Today, China talks a lot about a new kind of superpower relationship. The U.S. talks about its pivot to Asia. But the fact is, even the smartest diplomats on both sides haven't figured out a solution to this problem. And it is in all of our interests that they do.